Bitcoin BTC price prediction analysis. Could BTC hit $1 million? At the time Crypto Radar is making this video, Bitcoin is trading at around $63,000. To reach the $1 million milestone, BTC would need to rise by roughly 16 times from its current price, or nearly 8 times even from its all-time high of $126,000. That is clearly an extremely ambitious target. But for an asset like Bitcoin, one that has repeatedly delivered gains far beyond what most people thought possible, is a $1 million price tag really out of reach? In this video, we'll break down why many major institutions believe Bitcoin could eventually reach $1 million, what factors are supporting that bullish case, and what risks could prevent it from becoming a reality. Let's dive in. Crypto Radar. More and more major institutions are now making bullish BTC price predictions for Bitcoin, with various models suggesting that BTC could reach hundreds of thousands of dollars or even move toward the $1 million milestone per coin in the long term. What is notable is that these forecasts are no longer coming only from individual investors, but are increasingly being shared by influential names with a significant impact on the global financial industry. Leading this wave of BTC price prediction is Cathie Wood's ARK Invest. In its Big Ideas 2025 report, ARK's Bitcoin price analysis presented 3 price scenarios for 2030. Under the conservative scenario, Bitcoin could reach around $300,000. In the base case scenario, the projected price is approximately $710,000. Meanwhile, in the most optimistic case, ARK believes Bitcoin could potentially rise to $1.5 million per coin if adoption continues to expand significantly. ARK Invest is not the only institution with this view. Many financial research firms on Wall Street are also presenting similar perspectives. Bernstein, one of the leading financial research companies, believes Bitcoin could reach $1 million by around 2033. According to Bernstein, the key difference in the current cycle is that Bitcoin is being driven by the behavior of large investment funds rather than relying only on retail investor excitement like previous cycles. Looking further into the long term, VanEck has introduced one of the most ambitious models. The company developed a Bitcoin prediction model for 2050 with a base case scenario of $2.9 million per BTC, driven by its adoption as a settlement currency for 5 to 10% of global trade and a reserve asset representing 2.5% of central bank reserves. Beyond major financial institutions, individuals directly involved in the Bitcoin market are also expressing confidence in a much more ambitious future. Tom Lee, founder of Fundstrat and currently chairman of BitMine, believes Bitcoin could reach as high as $2 million in the long term if BTC continues expanding its role as a store of value and becomes more competitive with gold as a wealth preservation asset. Besides Bitcoin, BitMine is also one of the organizations actively accumulating Ethereum as a long-term reserve asset. If you want to understand more about Ethereum, Crypto Radar has already released an in-depth analysis video covering the potential and future role of ETH. You can watch that video again to gain a more comprehensive perspective on this cryptocurrency. When discussing the Bitcoin $1 million narrative, it is impossible to ignore Michael Saylor and strategy. This is perhaps one of the clearest examples of turning conviction into action. Not only has strategy made a Bitcoin price prediction that BTC could reach $1 million, but the company has also continued accumulating Bitcoin and transforming BTC into a strategic reserve asset, further strengthening the long-term Bitcoin bull market thesis. Of course, these BTC price prediction scenarios do not mean Bitcoin is guaranteed to reach $1 million. Each model is based on different assumptions regarding Bitcoin technical analysis, adoption growth, institutional capital flows, and Bitcoin's role within the global economy. However, the key takeaway is that more and more influential voices are now moving toward a similar conclusion. Bitcoin is no longer viewed only as a speculative asset during a crypto bull run, but is gradually being recognized as a strategic asset capable of competing with the world's largest stores of value. So what is driving major institutions to become increasingly confident in the possibility of Bitcoin reaching $1 million? Let's explore that in the next section. To understand whether Bitcoin can reach a $1 million price target, the key factor is not simply BTC price prediction, but whether the market has enough momentum to push Bitcoin's market capitalization to a level many times larger than where it is today. When Bitcoin had a market cap of only tens of billions of dollars, even a relatively small amount of capital inflow could trigger massive price increases. However, at its current scale of trillions of dollars, the situation is completely different. For Bitcoin to continue rising multiple times from here, the market will require new capital inflows that are large enough and sustained over a long period of time. That is also why spot Bitcoin ETFs are considered one of the biggest turning points of this cycle. ETFs not only allow investment funds, pension funds, and many traditional financial institutions to gain exposure to Bitcoin trading through financial products listed on the stock market without needing to directly buy or store the asset, but they also represent a major shift in how financial institutions view this coin. A prime example is BlackRock. Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, was once skeptical of Bitcoin and viewed it as a highly risky asset. However, his perspective has changed significantly as he began to see Bitcoin as a potential hedge against monetary risks and the depreciation of the US dollar. This shift is also reflected in BlackRock's role as one of the leading institutions behind the spot Bitcoin ETF trend through the iShares Bitcoin Trust. Since receiving approval in the United States, spot Bitcoin ETFs have accumulated approximately 1.27 million BTC, representing more than 6% of Bitcoin's maximum supply. Among them, the iShares Bitcoin Trust alone currently holds around 790,000 BTC Bitcoin. This shows that institutional demand is no longer just an expectation, it is already happening. However, large capital inflows can only create a significant impact when supply cannot expand alongside demand, and this is exactly one of Bitcoin's most important characteristics. Bitcoin's maximum supply is capped at 21 million Bitcoin, while the halving mechanism continuously reduces the rate of new coin issuance approximately every 4 years. After the 2024 halving, the block reward was reduced from 6.25 Bitcoin to 3.125 Bitcoin, meaning the network now produces only around 450 new Bitcoin per day. In future halving events, the amount of newly created Bitcoin will continue to be cut in half, making new supply increasingly scarce. So far, more than 20 million Bitcoin have already been mined, meaning the remaining supply will enter circulation at a very slow pace over the next several decades. Beyond that, the trend of Bitcoin accumulation by institutions and long-term investors is also changing the supply-demand balance in the market. As more BTC is held rather than continuously traded, the amount of Bitcoin actually available for trading will gradually decrease. If demand continues to grow while the available trading supply remains limited, upward price pressure could emerge based on the fundamental principle of supply and demand. Another important factor is how Bitcoin today is perceived by the market. More and more institutions are viewing Bitcoin as digital gold rather than simply a speculative asset, marking a major shift in the way the market approaches Bitcoin investing. Currently, the gold market has a total value of around $27 trillion. If Bitcoin captures even a portion of the store of value market that gold currently dominates, its market capitalization could still have significant room for growth. This is also one of the key arguments frequently mentioned in long-term BTC price analysis models. Overall, Bitcoin analysis today suggests that reaching a $1 million price level is not a simple target. However, it is also no longer an entirely unrealistic scenario if Bitcoin continues expanding its role in the global financial system and attracts larger capital inflows over the long term. That said, reaching this milestone would require BTC today to overcome many challenges along the way. Because despite having strong growth drivers, the cryptocurrency market is always accompanied by unpredictable risks. In the next section, we'll continue our BTC analysis by examining the risks that could delay or even change the outcome of these BTC price prediction scenarios for $1 million. The BTC technical analysis we've just covered suggests that a $1 million Bitcoin is far from an unrealistic idea. However, in investing, nothing is ever guaranteed. An asset may have many strong growth drivers, yet still fall short of expectations if key conditions change. So, alongside the factors supporting a higher BTC price prediction, we also need to consider the risks that could delay or even prevent this scenario from becoming reality. The first risk comes from the global macroeconomic environment. Historically, positive Bitcoin news has been most common when market liquidity is abundant and investors are willing to take on more risk. On the other hand, if the global economy faces major shocks, such as a resurgence of inflation, interest rates remaining elevated for an extended period, a recession, or escalating geopolitical conflicts, capital is likely to flow toward safer assets instead. In that case, the Bitcoin bear market could last much longer, making the journey toward the $1 million milestone far more challenging. Another major risk is the regulatory environment surrounding the crypto market. Although the United States has made significant progress in recognizing digital assets and integrating them into the traditional financial system, many important regulations are still being finalized. One of the most anticipated developments is the Clarity Act, which aims to provide clearer guidelines on how digital assets are classified and which agencies are responsible for regulating them. Based on the latest Bitcoin market updates, if this legislation continues to face delays or fails to pass as expected, ongoing regulatory uncertainty could make large financial institutions more cautious about allocating capital to Bitcoin. That would slow the pace of mainstream Bitcoin adoption. Institutional capital flows are another key variable to watch closely. A major reason many analysts believe Bitcoin could eventually reach $1 million is the expectation that spot Bitcoin ETFs will continue attracting significant inflows for years to come. However, these inflows are unlikely to move in a straight line. During recent sharp Bitcoin corrections, the market has already seen multiple trading sessions with ETF outflows, showing that even institutional investors can become more cautious when market conditions deteriorate. If those outflows persist, one of Bitcoin's strongest sources of buying pressure could weaken, negatively affecting long-term BTC price prediction scenarios. Another long-term risk involves technology. The most commonly discussed concern is the development of quantum computing and its potential impact on Bitcoin's cryptographic security. At present, most experts believe this is not an immediate threat, as quantum technology is still far from being capable of compromising the Bitcoin network. In addition, the Bitcoin developer community could implement future Bitcoin updates to address emerging technological challenges. Nevertheless, it remains a long-term risk that the market cannot completely ignore. Finally, it's important to remember that every BTC price prediction is built on a specific set of assumptions. Many major institutions have developed highly detailed valuation models, but those models still depend on factors such as Bitcoin adoption, institutional capital inflows, the broader macroeconomic environment, and Bitcoin's future role within the global financial system. If any of those assumptions change, long-term projections, including expectations about the next Bitcoin bottom or the $1 million price target, may also need to be revised. For that reason, the $1 million target should be viewed as a well-supported long-term scenario rather than a guaranteed outcome. Bitcoin has several advantages today that it did not have in previous market cycles. Even so, it will still need to overcome many significant challenges before reaching that milestone. So what do you think? Does Bitcoin have what it takes to reach $1 million in the future, or is that still an overly ambitious goal? Share your Bitcoin price analysis today in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video on Bitcoin technical analysis today, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crypto Radar so you never miss the latest BTC news, crypto news, and future crypto market update videos. Following market trends and understanding risk management are important parts of developing a proper crypto trading strategy. And as always, please remember that the content shared in this video is based on my own research and personal opinions and should not be considered financial or investment advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions and invest responsibly. Crypto Radar disclaims all responsibility related to the results of your transactions and your assets. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video here on Crypto Radar.